Downtown Kingston, for people who are not so familiar with Jamaica or even Kingston, that's where most of our culture comes from. That's where all the new dances come from. That's where all the new slang and the new talk that you might hear even on the streets of London comes from. It originates the culture. They just have a natural style, a natural flair. That's where the music, Trench Town is an inner city community, and everybody knows the story of Bob Marley and all the other musical greats that really came from downtown. So Downtown Kingston is a creative space. It's just how do we all acknowledge that, and then how do we make that work for the people, the communities that live in downtown? And that's what this is really about. Hi, my name is Andrew Dempster Chung, and I'm the Executive Director of Kingston Creative. Kingston Creative isn't an event. We have events, but Kingston Creative is a movement. It's a movement of people that believe that Kingston is the creative capital of the Caribbean. And if we believe that Kingston is the creative capital, then there's certain things that must follow. The creatives that live there must be able to sustain themselves from their talents. The environment of downtown Kingston needs to look like it's a creative capital with murals and art and be vibrant. And there's a lot of other things that follow. So we are really looking at transforming downtown Kingston and empowering creatives, and that's what the Kingston Creative Movement is about. Now, along with that comes certain events, because if you have an art space and arts district, then you have art events. And so that's where we started with the events, but really it's a bigger vision around really catalyzing growth in the creative economy and empowering creative people, nurturing them so that they can live their best lives in a sense. I myself am an artist. I studied engineering and went into business and entrepreneurship and did a lot of corporate stuff, but at my core, I am an artist. And so that's where I get the fuel to really create platforms for other artists. And that's what we do with the events. So, for example, the Art Walk is basically activating the whole of downtown Kingston as an art space. So we have a lot of abandoned warehouses. It's the same kind of situation you might have found in San Francisco years ago or other big urban centers. At some point, there's flight from the center, and then you end up with all these beautiful spaces that just nobody's there. It's a no-go area. So the Art Walk really takes back these areas and says, let's host a dance in front of the old synagogue. Let's host a poetry performance inside of this abandoned building with no roof. And you just use art to transform those spaces. And we invite the public to come with us and for a day, walk around their capital city experiencing art. So Raytown is an inner city community that is the home of the oldest sound system dance in the world. A dance is where speakers are put up in the street, people congregate, and it's just livity, as you would say, fun. Celebration. And so this dance has been going on, the Raytown dance. It's famous, and not just in Jamaica. People worldwide know about Raytown. And the dance had actually stopped. And so, and of course with all communities there's balance, right? So you have the dance and the celebration, and then you have a huge prison that's also in the same community. And so what we did with the Art Walk was we took the marching band, very reminiscent of a New Orleans kind of funeral performance with the brass and the dances, and everybody walked the streets past the Tower Street prison, which is an imposing brick building coming back from the last century, and it just has a presence. So after we passed the prison and we got to the site, Capricorn Inn, where Raytown dance started, the dance had stopped, and we recreated a dance there at the site of where it originally was, and Miss Norma came out, who was the originator of the Raytown dance, and the community came out, and then we're all dancing in a circle in the street in the middle of the day. Just so powerful, and that for me, art and change and art and transformation, they're inextricably linked. Art and culture is like our most powerful thing. It's our global superpower. Jamaican culture specifically, it travels the entire world. There's nowhere I've been that they don't know Jamaican culture. So we have a team of 100 different volunteers, people who do this for free, simply because they are so passionate about, transforming Kingston and downtown. The volunteers at Kingston Creative are absolutely amazing. They span the gamut from architects to designers to art students to, experienced practitioners. And everybody is just working together for the same purpose. And they work in different pods. The pods are leadership, community, real estate, art district, art events, brand, and digital. So they're each looking at different areas that we need to make work so that the whole creative ecosystem works and the project works. So although people tend to see the art events, the meetup, the market, and the art walk, all the pods are extremely important, especially community pod, which is on the ground, making sure we build those relationships within the community so that we can be inclusive.
So you have people on your team who are part of these communities downtown?
Absolutely. There's people on the team who are from Tivoli, who are from Raytown, who are from Parade Garden Southside, and we find that to be very, very useful. I mean, you can't see it being inclusive if your leadership is not inclusive. So the leadership of the organization kind of reflects what we're trying to build. It's open, and as we expand and move to different communities, they are also brought in, and they're part of developing the plan as we go down the road.
Speaking of development, what does the real estate pod do again?
So the real estate pod is tasked with unlocking the potential of those buildings. Remember, I mentioned that Downtown Kingston has all of these beautiful spaces, but over the last 30, 40 years, people have just locked them up. They've stayed unused. They've been just closed. And so what we're asking for real estate owners to do now is allow us to paint murals on your building. Let us change the look and feel of downtown. Allow us to do temporary performances in your space. Let's bring those spaces back to life and show other people the potential of your space. And then allow artists to occupy your space. So some of those buildings are perfect for artist studios, for businesses, for creative entrepreneurs. And so we really want to activate the space and have the real estate used for a positive thing to kind of contribute to the whole art district vibe. My vision for the future of Downtown Kingston is a vibrant art district and a creative hub. It's that we have an art district with murals, with Kingston International Festival, that we are the center of creativity and culture for the Caribbean and possibly the world. So it's a big vision. We need something to aim for. And the creative hub is that we are looking at the development of our creatives. It's not just about pretty environments and tourists coming in. It really is about how do we get our creatives so that they can level up and they can capitalize and monetize from all the change that's happening. How do we get our communities ready to do community tourism and to be able to profit from this change? That whole inclusive thing means that you have to be looking at transforming the look and feel and the dynamics, but you also have to be looking at the people. What do they need? What training do they need? What development do they need? What space do they need? And so the vision long term is to have a vibrant art district and a booming creative hub that's really contributing to, economic prosperity for Jamaica. For next year, we plan to see the launch of the Kingston International Festival, the opening of our first Creative Hub space, which is a co-working space with the launch of the Accelerator program that creative entrepreneurs will get to enroll in. For next year, I think it's just doing what we do bigger and better. So bigger and better for us means that the community is more included, that the community partnerships are more developed and pronounced. And the community is benefiting from everything that we do.